Welcome back to the Wet Coaster Podcast, episode 2. Today we're going to talk some sports, but first I'd like to welcome you with me, Michael, Steven, and Zach. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
Yeah.
So the conference championship games are now all complete. There were some shockers there, though. So we can go over the Power Five, at least the Power Five teams that played.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
let's start. We got
Let's jump into
Michigan
it.
and Purdue from the Big Ten. Final score
Mhm.
of this game was 43-22. I can't say I was shocked, but I can say I was shocked with how close the game was in the first half. And I'm pretty sure Michigan was down going into the half by 3 points. If I don't know if
I don't know.
I'm
Steve looks
completely
like he's
right.
confirming that he's on it.
I do not believe that's true, but
Steve is our resident fact checker.
let's see. So it was 14-13 Michigan.
So at 1 point, okay, yeah. Well,
But
still
basically
a
tied.
lot closer than I think than anybody really expected this game to be.
No.
What'd y'all see stand out from this one? I mean, I think Purdue's defense stood up.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I guess I kind of saw is you saw Donovan Edwards have a really good game again. So I think the run game should not be an issue going to the playoffs for them, without Blake Corum.
Yeah, I know that was a concern going into this game. So I'm happy to see that it didn't have too much of an impact at least in the final score. But it's kind of seemed like they needed a little bit of momentum to break away.
Yeah, in my opinion, I just kind of second Steve, right? I think their run game was the piece was like, hey, how are they going to fare without Blake Corum? Because it's a lot easier for Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards to look good when they're complementing each other versus just Donovan Edwards getting the rock, 30 times that game. Also, thank you, Donovan, for hitting on my prize picks parlay. That was very kind of you. But what I also will say is that we saw TCU kind of get handled. We'll get into that game in a sec, but like saw TCU kind of get handled in the run game. Like Deuce Vaughn kind of, did his way with TCU, and I think that's going to be a key factor on Donovan Edwards and Michigan's run game against TCU's run defense. Because JJ McCarthy really didn't show me anything that I haven't already seen. I think the dude's mid at best, and yeah, he just kind of continued to be mid. So yeah.
It's a hot take.
Dude, he had like 150 yards and 3 tutties.
Yeah, but he
Like,
made the big plays when he needed him to.
Yeah.
And that's all they need him to do. They don't need him to be, superstar QB.
exactly,
They,
because
they
of
just
Donovan
needed
Edwards.
him to fill in the gaps, when the run game's not exactly going the way they need to.
Exactly. But if the run game's not going the way it needs to, i.e., against Illinois, we kind of saw JJ McCarthy really not, they won the game, but it wasn't like, oh my God, this dude's a stud, right? So I think if TCU can shut down Donovan Edwards, I'm calling it now.
That's not happening.
I'm calling it now. TCU with the dub. Yeah.
I mean, Max
you heard it
Duggan
here
looks
first.
really good, but I guess we can get into that whenever we get to the Big
Yeah.
12 game. But I think talking about people who I guess stood up and made the plays when they needed to be made, looking at the Georgia LSU game, Nessmeyer really stood up when he needed to. I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm sure a lot of LSU fans were pleasantly surprised by that one. Kind of came out of nowhere, but I mean, he showed that he has starter capability next year, I think.
So what do you think happens? Do you think he enters the portal, or do you think Jaden Daniels enters the portal? It's $1 million question.
I
I
mean,
always
they'll go
thought
into camp,
Jaden
probably
Daniels
battle
would.
it out. Whoever
Yeah.
loses will transfer. It's the most likely scenario.
I mean, is it possible Jaden Daniels goes to the league?
No, no way in hell. Unless he wants to be a backup. Probably makes more money in NIL than he would in an NFL contract. But
I mean, but what are the odds of him keeping that starting position next year?
it's a good question. I mean, he had some big dubs this year. He's kind of the only reason they were there, amongst other things.
Yeah, I mean,
But to be fair,
I
we
can't remember
saw.
their tight end's name. He's a true
Oh
freshman.
yeah,
He's
that white guy.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw
Great explanation there. We know exactly what you're talking about.
the big tall white guy. Every tight end in the world, actually. No, we saw that with Cade McNamara, right? Like he kind of led Michigan all the way last year, and they're like, "Fuck it, the guy behind you's got more talent." So
yeah.
I mean, I think it's very possible that you're right. Could happen with Nussmeier.
I think
So,
so. But that was a an interesting game to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, LSU showed that Georgia's defense can be scored on, so I think it might honestly be an interesting game first round in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I really do. I think so as well. I'm curious to see
because I
who
mean, Ohio State
can
can
Ohio
score.
State do that
That's what
though?
That's the one thing
No.
you can always say about Ohio State. They can score on anybody. So if no, yes, absolutely. If Georgia's defense is showing that there's a weakness there, that could be a very close game.
I guess you saw what
Ohio,
does work. So maybe
Ohio State's a bunch of
through
pretenders.
film they can pull it off.
Dude, Ohio State can beat anybody. It just depends like what team shows up.
Dude, this isn't even a hot take in my opinion. You know who should be number 4 in the college football playoff rankings? And I'm going to stick by this statement. Utah. Utah should be in.
Really?
Because they beat USC twice.
So their losses are against Florida week 1, which was a bullshit loss, and that was by like on a 2-point conversion is why they lost.
But
their other loss was
did they
against
lose?
UCLA. Their other loss was against UCLA when UCLA was humming, and then they lost to Oregon, who was humming at the time. But you look at their dubs, they just kicked the shit out of USC, and they're a good defensive team. Put Utah in. That's my take. Put Utah in. I'm telling you, bro. First 3-loss team ever in the playoffs. That's what we like to see. Nah, the only reason
I don't know about that one.
The only reason Ohio State's in is because of the emblem on their helmet. That is the only reason that they are in the college football playoffs. So you can't tell me that you can go through the Big Ten, get the shit kicked out of you by the only other good team in the Big Ten, and then be like, oh yeah, we just made the playoffs because we're such a good team. No, fuck that. Your only win were against Notre Dame, who was bummy this year at best, and then against Penn State, who everyone's like, oh my god, Penn State's such a good team. Really? Put Penn State up against any SEC team, they get the shit kicked out of them too. So no, Penn State's a pretender who has an easy schedule, and so is Ohio State, and Georgia's going to expose Ohio State, and that's my take.
So if Ohio State wasn't to be in the playoffs, and we weren't talking about Utah, who would be your next into the playoffs, logically?
It's Bama. Honestly, it's Bama. I think Bama deserves it more than Ohio State.
Can you explain to me how that makes sense, though? Because
who
they lost.
Who are Bama's losses?
Who have they lost to? Tennessee and LSU.
They lost to Tennessee because their fucking kicker missed a field goal, and Tennessee's kicker made a field goal.
Okay, but
so they lost by a field goal at Tennessee, and then they lost to LSU on a 2-point conversion.
But they still lost.
They still lost.
Well, you can't take that away.
It's still a loss.
They lost the game.
So you're telling me those 2 losses by a combined 5 points is that much worse than Ohio State getting rolled by Michigan at home? Nah, dude. I'm sorry.
They lost 1 game to the number 2 team in the country.
Bama played better teams. I don't care what anybody says. SEC schedule is much better than fucking.
Not this year.
Dude, who does Ohio State even play?
The SEC West this year was awful compared to the past.
Nah.
Yes.
And on top of that, they had what was the Texas score? Alabama, Texas. I mean, wasn't that a 2-point game? A 1-point game, I think.
It was a 1-point game.
And then A&M was a 2-point game. Okay, I mean, those aren't big wins. So how can you say, okay, well, they didn't have big losses? Well, they didn't have big wins either.
I'm just gonna Utah State. Who gives a fuck? UT. Okay, they won by 1. UL Monroe, they kicked the shit out of. Vanderbilt, they won 55-3. Arkansas, 49-26. And at that time, Arkansas was like a top 20 defense in the country.
They're not
A&M,
a team.
Okay, but at one point in time, OU was the 6th-ranked team in the country. Now look at them. Ranks don't mean shit in that sense.
30-6 against Mississippi State. So they lost by 1 to LSU. So their combined losses was 4 points. Think about that.
Okay, but we're talking about a ranked system where
they rolled Auburn.
Where we're dealing with win-losses.
Their wins are better. I don't care. Their wins are so much better than Ohio State.
Okay, but they lost.
I just told you.
They're not good wins.
UT, Arkansas, Mississippi State,
none of those
Ole
are
Miss,
good
Auburn.
wins.
Those are good wins.
No.
Dude. Okay, and let's look at Ohio State's good wins. Nah, bro. Nah. You're tweaking hard right now.
No. You have an Alabama team that lost to Tennessee, right? You have an Alabama team who lost to LSU, right? LSU got curb stomped by Tennessee. I can't.
Look, I'm looking at Ohio State's schedule right now. It's a joke. It is a joke. Notre Dame, okay, fine. They were ranked 5 at the time. Yeah, we saw how that turned out. Arkansas State, Toledo, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Michigan State. Iowa, Penn State, Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland. Come on, bro. That is dog shit. It's a dog shit schedule. I don't care what anybody says. I think Bama's wins outrank their 2
So
losses.
their Texas win is what you're saying, because that's their best win.
Texas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Auburn. Those are all good wins. Arkansas.
And don't
Texas is
forget
the
your
fully
5-7 Texas A&M win as well.
So you're counting Notre Dame's win that they beat Notre Dame because they were
at
number
least beat
5?
number 11 Penn State.
Oh my God, bro. Bro, come on. Okay, dude, nah, I can't, bro. If you're gonna count like these ranked wins, so Notre Dame was a number 5 ranked win. Come on, Arkansas was a top team when they played. Ole Miss was a number 11 team when they played. Like, nah, bro, come on, can't do that. Mm-mm.
You don't
gotta look at how they were at that moment.
No, you don't go by that.
All right, bro. You know what?
If we're going by that, then A&M's one of the best teams in the country.
Nah, you know what? I hope Ohio State gets rolled by Georgia, and I'll be the one laughing. So you know what?
All right, let's move on to the next game.
All right,
yeah, let's move on.
All right, the Big 12, TCU, Kansas State. What a game!
I thought it'd be more high scoring, honestly.
Yeah, I did too. But I watched Max Duggan tear shit up.
No, he plays hard out,
dude. I mean, after that game, I thought he should get the Heisman. And I said that at a bar, and somebody turned around and said, he said, this guy? It's like, yeah, that guy. Especially if USC loses, Williams, I think.
But he definitely is right up there with him, I think, though, after that.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. To me, USC's loss was a larger magnitude than TCU's loss. And I think Kansas State is a really competent team with a good defense, and I think Max Duggan, his decision making skills are amazing. I don't know, man. I watched him and I think he should definitely be a serious consideration for that Heisman Trophy. But the game, I guess, didn't go TCU's way, but it was good. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Deuce Vaughn had a hell of a night.
Yeah.
So did Kendra Miller, though.
I mean, I don't want to brag and say that me and Mikey weren't right about this, but I think we should toot our own horn, Mikey, and say that we were right on this.
They lost in overtime.
I've said it since week 5. Kansas State is that team this year, man.
Yeah, come on, bro. We were right, and that's just, who's counting, right? Who cares? But we were. And I think TCU, they deserve to be in the playoffs 100%. I think it's going to be a close game with Michigan. I think it's going to be closer than most people think. I think that run game's the key. I don't know if Max Duggan deserves the Heisman. I just looked at his stats. It was kind of
Let me ask you this, though. What good defenses has Michigan played this year?
Exactly. They're like Ohio State. Exactly my point proven. Ohio State's
defenses or offenses?
Defenses.
I think TCU's defenses, although it has its hiccups at moment in the second half.
Their defense is not good.
Who, TCU?
No.
Bro, Steve is a Big Ten stan, dude. You're a Big Ten stan, bro.
Okay.
I think they've had hiccups in the second half of the season, but I think after this Kansas State loss, I think they're really going to do it.
Michigan's defense allows on average 13 points a game, while TCU averages 25.
Allowed. Yeah, but this season, the Big 12 compared to the Big 10 is just.
Yeah, I'm looking at Michigan's schedule. Their schedule is more dog shit than Ohio State, and I didn't even think that was possible. Dear God. Dude, fuck the Big Ten. This is why they don't win titles.
But think about who you're going against as well. Like in the Big 12, you're going against Baylor, who almost goes every single time they're fourth down, they're going. Right? Yeah. Dave Aranda knows what he's doing. I'm not going to say much for OU. Texas, when they got their shit going, they got their shit going. But and then you had Kansas State, you had Oklahoma State in the first half of the season with Spencer Sanders, and I mean they were killing it too. Kansas, the first half of the season, Kansas was going. I mean, the Big 12 was good this year. I mean, aside from Iowa State and OU, I think it was. I mean, a really competent conference compared to previous years. But
no, I don't disagree with you.
But I'm saying is that's the reason for TCU allowing more points than Michigan has because.
Oh yeah, well yeah, because it's Big 12. They're more competent offenses. Again, look at Michigan's schedule. The offenses are dog shit. I think this game will be closer than people think, but I do think Michigan's going to win because for me, when it comes to the playoffs and stuff like this, I think it's just talent, right? I think very rarely does the less talented team win,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Michigan just has more talent.
I mean, Michigan's just going to
So,
control the line of scrimmage better.
yeah,
I think their run game's going to be more efficient.
I agree. So that's just my take on it. But no, good for TCU. Like they deserve it. Like
Yeah.
fuck
For
anybody says it.
TCU to win, they need to have a good run game, and Michigan's the number 3rd rushing defense. So
Bro, they don't
they
play
got a tall
anybody.
task.
Nah, they don't play anybody, bro.
I think
Well,
it'll be a good game.
There's plenty of good running backs in the Big Ten, though.
Okay, so the 2 good running backs that they have played are Braylon Allen. I think that's his name. Nebraska or Wisconsin, one of those 2 fucking schools. And then whoever the fuck Ohio State put out, and then I guess Nick Singleton at Penn State. Everyone else is very dog shit. I guess Illinois' running back was all right. Does Braylon Allen play at Nebraska? Am I tweaking?
All right, let's
Go on to the next game.
go to the Pac-12. USC Utah.
Anyway.
I loved watching this.
Mm-hmm.
This made me feel happy.
Another game that, again, not to toot my horn, another game.
I mean, it helps when Caleb Williams gets injured in the first.
Oh,
quarter.
stop it! See, dude, no.
I'm not saying they would have won. I'm not saying
they're.
I don't think they would have won no matter what. But it would have been a much closer game.
Yeah, how can you not say that Caleb Williams getting hurt in the first quarter doesn't affect that game? Like that is Caleb Williams is the offense.
As much for one.
Nah, dude. Every team has injuries. You can't just say, "Oh, Caleb Williams."
But that affected the game.
Nah,
We're just talking
it
about
affects
this
the game. It does affect the game. That affects Lincoln Riley's offense.
Yeah, because he had a hamstring
run
injury,
by Caleb Williams.
Throwing arm injury.
Nah. As James Droz said very famously on TikTok, USC, what happened? Y'all bums from the beginning. Y'all overranked to begin with. You play an easy ass schedule in the Pac-12. You don't have a defense.
They beat Oregon. They beat UCLA. That's not a cakewalk.
That is a cakewalk. No, that's a cakewalk. Dude, the only good team they faced, I'd argue, is Utah and Oregon. UCLA is like so overrated. Nah, dude.
It's kind of your opinion on every team. They're just overrated, right?
Yes, a lot of teams are overrated. Dude, USC are like the pretty boys, right? Like, ooh, we got all this money and we got this swag and we're in LA. Yeah, again, go face an SEC team and they'll kick the shit out of you. Mark my words, bro.
That's what every person in the SEC says. That's literally what every SEC fan says.
Dude, if they play Georgia in round 1, 40-0.
Look, easy. All I'm going to say is the SEC is going to get a real test whenever LSU plays Kansas State in the bowl game.
Okay.
I think Kansas State wins.
I think Kansas State wins that game, and I think Deuce Vaughn is going to run all over that fucking defense.
Partially because I think LSU's overrated, but
yes, 100%. I think LSU's overrated too. 100%. Who's USC playing in their bowl game? Who'd they get matched up with?
I have it written down here somewhere.
I didn't watch the selection show.
They're playing Tulane, I think.
Oh god, they can't lose that game.
Oh my!
Tulane's a good
I don't
team,
think it's LSU. It's not LSU Kansas State. It's going to be Alabama Kansas State. I think is what it's going to be.
Okay, let me see.
Well, we'll see how Bama does.
I think that'll be fun. I think that is going to be the game to watch.
Well, Bama doesn't have Trayshawn Holden too, I guess, because he entered the portal, so that kind of blows.
So we got USC versus Tulane. We got Alabama versus Kansas State.
That's going to be fantastic.
They are literally this is what I'm talking about, bro. This is why I hate college football sometimes. Like they want USC to be good so bad that they fucking give them Tulane in their bowl game so that all the recruits can be like, "Oh my God, USC's back! Get the fuck out of here! Put USC up against a top tier like Tennessee or something and watch them get fucking rolled." I'm serious, bro. Like,
see, LSU's playing Purdue in the Citrus Bowl.
I hope Tulane rolls them, dude. I hope it's closer than people think.
It would be so funny.
I think it. I don't think it would be a blow.
So funny.
I'm just tired of USC thinking they're so good,
dude. For half the game.
USC just it irks me, bro.
Is this how you felt about OU when Lincoln Riley was there? I feel like it was because it's literally the same fucking team. It's literally the same team as 2021.
Exactly. You guys would score 50 a game and give up 58. Like it's
that's it.
That's just stupid.
Yep. No, I agree, and that's what USC now in 2022 is literally OU in 2021.
But see, OU wasn't pretentious. That's the thing. USC is pretentious. That's the
You're
thing.
just saying that
Oh
because
yeah,
they're
we're
from
gonna pay.
California. But let's go to the
Yes,
ACC. Let's go to the ACC. Clemson, UNC. I know
this game
you're
paid
upset
me.
about this game.
Yeah.
It was definitely not a close one.
Mm-mm. This was bad. This was
I
the
mean,
take I was wrong on. I was wrong on this take. I was dead wrong.
if Drake May doesn't go off, they're not going to win. That's basically just what happened.
Yeah, and he sucked. Drake was so bad this game. Like I get it. I watched the game. His O line didn't give him shit to work with, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you need to step up in these kinds of games, and you didn't. I mean, it's just that simple. Like Drake May sold the last three games. So Georgia Tech, NC State, and this game he sold. And I'm not like being a dick. I'm not trying to beat up on him because I'm a huge fan of Drake May. But dude, you sold these past three games. Look at your stats. Like look at your stats prior to those three games, and then you had these three games, and it's like what changed? You still had Josh Downs, you still had Elijah Green at running back. Like nothing changed except you sold, and you made bad throws, you made poor decisions, you didn't run the ball when you needed to, and you did a lot of checkdowns. Homie did so many checkdown throws. It's like, all right, dude, you know what? You guys got rolled. Congratulations. You know what? And who they get in the bowl game? They actually got a good bowl game. I think they got Oregon, right?
I didn't see.
I think it is Oregon. That's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
Oregon
oh
Holiday
fuck.
Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not. Good luck. Good luck, Carolina. You just got rolled by Clemson and go face Oregon. Dear God.
Now Clemson
Yeah,
has won 7 of the last 9 conference championships.
unbelievable. It's like Bama, dude.
Yep. Well, that would be an interesting,
I mean,
game.
all this game signaled is that DJ's transferring to like Notre Dame or some bullshit. Like that's literally what's gonna happen. So,
It'll be interesting who Notre Dame gets,
DJ, bro. I mean,
because I don't think any of the people on their roster are going to be the starter.
He
no,
hit the
but
portal.
what
I think he announced he's hitting the portal. Did he not?
DJ?
Drew
Mhm.
Bryant. No, he hasn't announced it
Yeah,
yet.
they
Drew
announced
No,
it,
Bryant.
but
I
it's
thought
being
he announced
reported
it
that
today.
it's going to happen.
Maybe
Uga
maybe not.
Galele.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong.
They're reporting it's going to happen over the next couple of days. It looks like
Yeah. I
because
missed
the
No,
it.
portal
Mikey's
opens
Well,
right.
up tomorrow, right?
I am right.
Mikey's right. It
Oh,
was an hour ago. They announced it an hour ago.
yeah.
He announced it, or it was just reported?
DJ Uga Wuga to enter transfer portal. Clemson's two-year starter, former number one QB prospect. Yeah. How are you gonna say that? Ugalele?
I
Ugalele?
never attempt to actually
Yeah,
pronounce it.
I tried earlier, but I'm not gonna do that. But that's a good kind of segue into the next topic. So transfer portal. This is probably what everyone is looking at least for your teams that did not perform in the way that they were expected to in the 2022 season, i.e. OU. So let's talk OU first. Nick Evers yesterday announced that he's going to be entering the transfer portal. I think this means two things. He sees no future starting a single down over Jackson Arnold coming in. And Dylan Gabriel is not leaving despite everybody's anxiety around the topic from the Texas Tech game. So I think this is a breath of fresh air, but I also think it is a loss because Nick Evers is, I mean, at least on tape, he was really good. He only played, I think, 2 downs during the Texas game. Texas game was a disaster. And I don't know if he even completed either of those passes. But it'll be interesting to see where he goes.
Straight up, in my opinion, they should have done what UT does. They should have done what UT is doing. Dylan Gabriel was their Hudson Card, right? You have Nick Evers, who's like Quinn Ewers, same underclassman who's good. Start him next year, and then once he leaves, you have Jackson Arnold, because Jackson Arnold should not be starting next year as a true freshman unless you well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe he's that good, but in my opinion, I think OU is wrong to go in this direction. And you're absolutely right. What this tells me is that Nick Evers clearly sees that he's not going to start over Dylan Gabriel next year. And yeah, whoever gets Nick Evers is going to end up doing really good. So good for them. But big sad for OU, man. Big sad.
I don't know if it's big sad. We're still getting Jackson Arnold. And Dylan Gabriel, although he's gotten a lot of shit this year, I think he's, obviously there's a lot of struggle with the culture at the university and with the program, but I think he still put up a really good season. I don't think that anybody can really complain about from a logical standpoint. But there are a lot more problems with that team than the quarterback. And that was not the reason we lost games. It might have been the reason we lost a couple because he was not in the game, but I do not think he was solely the reason that we lost a game.
that defense.
Yeah, that the
I mean,
defense was just not. It was not there. Also, the play calling.
yeah. No,
Was
it's cool,
just
man. Not everybody can go into the season with Connor Wegman as their starting quarterback. I get it. I mean,
yeah.
it's got to be brutal. I know it's got to be like, man, it really would be nice to have a good quarterback, and it's kind of not our position, right? We're doing fine, and I'm happy for that.
I won't
Good.
go that far.
Okay, no, Connor's like the only bright spot, dude. He's actually pretty fucking good. It looks like the rest of the team is kind of selling, but
So
yeah.
next on the list, Theo Weiss. Theo
Hmm.
Weiss, underutilized talent, I think, at OU this year, which is most likely the reason that he is leaving. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go to USC or potentially even South Carolina to go play with Rattler, which was his recruiting class, I believe. So
Yeah,
neither would
that's wild.
surprise me. I think he was underutilized by Jeff Lebby until the Texas Tech game, but good for him. Hopefully he can find a place that can use his talent. He's really, really talented. So
Yeah, I didn't realize he was that old, like in terms of recruiting class.
yeah.
But
Wait, I can't remember what
yeah,
year that was. I think it was 2020 though. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, no, it was. I think Trayshawn Holden's the same in the same position, right? A good receiver underutilized at Bama, who's clearly seeing the writing on the wall for Bama's quarterback room.
Hmm.
He saw that Jalen Milroe is basically a worse version of Anthony Richardson, who's already a worse version of Cam Newton. And we already know Cam Newton can't throw football other than like 2 years in the NFL. So he's like, okay, yeah, we need to get out of here and go get a good quarterback. So I think same position, right? I think he's going to focus on a school that has a good quarterback. So like a USC. I think Carolina is just a long shot, but like a school like that, maybe even a UT, right? Um, in a pass heavy system. So
Yeah.
yeah, and Steve can have Sean Tyler because I don't know shit about Sean Tyler. So
Yeah,
you know,
so running back out of Western Michigan, he had back-to-back 1,000 yard seasons. I think main thing is probably just looking to make the jump from the Power Five conference. I think just get more recognition for his talent.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
I'm kind of with
Drew
Zach
Pine's
there. I don't.
interesting.
I haven't watched much of him, but Drew Pine.
I think. I mean, well, he was the backup at Notre Dame, got thrown into the starting position, and was probably going to be a backup next year. I could see him going to like a low end Pac-12 or a low end ACC school. Like just those kind of seem to fit the mold for me. Um, I don't think he's going to get a big job. I really don't. I mean, he really wasn't that good at Notre Dame this year. He was he was mid. Um,
I think for getting kind of just thrown into it, he did pretty good.
sure, I agree with you, but at the same time, it's like if Cade McNamara, right, who went to a Big Ten championship game, the best he could get was Iowa, who, yeah, sure, great defense and has always been a quarterback away. Like, I don't see Drew Pine getting a big time job. You know what I mean? Like, starting at least.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. Yeah, Rara. So he was like the best receiver at Mississippi State, which is surprising he's entering the portal. I think the only reason he's entering the portal is because what's Will Rogers is going pro, I think.
No, he has to stay another year for sure.
Yeah, he
No,
does.
no, Will Rogers, he's eligible. I mean, I don't know if he has to go pro. I don't know if he's gonna go pro, but he's
I
eligible.
feel like we've talked about this before. I'm getting like
Yeah,
serious deja vu about this.
no, he's eligible. I promise you he's eligible. He was the same class as like Anthony Richardson and those guys, and they're all eligible. Um, but my point is like, why else would you leave a pass-heavy system in the SEC? Like, literally, Mississippi State does not run the football,
Yeah.
and so,
Yeah, he
uh,
is eligible to go.
yeah. So I think he's probably thinking that Will is gonna go, and I think he's just
I
looking
don't know.
for a
He
better
might stay another
situation.
year. He kind of fell off towards the end of the year. He might
Well,
want to come back and
yeah.
try to prove a little more.
Well, what is there to prove? He's not a very good quarterback. He's all
Okay,
right.
that's just
Dude,
false. But
no, he's mid. He's not good. There's a lot of guys who are good college quarterbacks, and Will Rogers is one of them. He's like the leader in SEC history for like what, like completions and all this
completions, he did
bullshit.
that in 2 years.
Yeah, so he's a good college quarterback, but like you never see him mocked high in NFL mock drafts. So like to me, it's just like I don't know. Maybe Ra's looking for more NIL money. I feel like with a lot of these guys that are like leaving situations where it's like, why would you leave this situation?
I don't.
Like
I
it's
don't
got to
think.
be.
I don't know if it's NIL. I think a lot of it's playing time, honestly.
But if you're the top guy at that
Well, he's
school,
the top guy, but they spread the ball around a ton at Mississippi State. Like he had, as the top guy, he had like 700, 800 yards with receiving.
man, that's pretty good for SEC. It's pretty good. I mean, Not
He
named
might want, yeah, I mean, he
Alabama.
might just want to go. It could be NIL, but also might be a situation where he just wants to go somewhere where he's the number one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Not
fair.
just
Like,
the guy ended up with the most, but there's like 4 guys they spread it out across.
watch him go to Bama. Bama needs some. No, seriously, Bama needs receivers. With Trayshawn leaving, I mean, their number one next year is going to be what, Isaiah Bond? Because this year, who did they get in the portal? Like, was Ja'Cory Brooks always there? I don't remember. And I know they got Jermaine Burton, who was like one of the number ones in the portal. Um, yeah, so Hudson Card, if we can jump into him, this one's an interesting one. I think, I'm telling you, dude, Notre Dame seems right. It just feels right. Notre Dame or Miami feels right for him.
I agree with Notre Dame. I think he
Yeah,
goes to Notre Dame.
yeah.
But
Steve, what do you think?
No idea, honestly.
I think he did. He put up, at least when Quinn Ewers was hurt this season, I think he put up good numbers for himself.
I mean, there was a lot of talk that he won the job in camp, but apparently Quinn Ewers, the donors wanted Quinn Ewers to start. That was like a big
And I
rumor
don't
floating
doubt it
around.
with Texas. That doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
I'm
So,
thinking how much money they probably gave him. They want to see him play.
yeah. Oh, they gave Quinn Ewers a fuck ton of money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he maintains that mullet
Just
beautifully.
to
So, I
not
mean,
make the Big 12 championship, man. I love
yeah,
it.
it sounds like
I
wait,
come from
UT
a position
overpaying
of
for
bias.
people?
Huh? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I said
you
UT
know you came
overpaying for people?
from A&M, right? Just making sure though. How
Oh
much
wait,
was
you
that
mean a
Jimbo Fisher
20
contract? I can't
$20
remember.
million NIL class to go 5-8?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
man.
difference is though,
Or 5
A&M
and
and
7.
Texas could actually afford to do that stuff, and then not
Yeah.
affect them.
Dude, we're so down bad. So like between Jimbo's buyout
If
and
A&M really wanted, they could buy out that contract.
say bye bye, no more
Okay,
cups
so
with Jimbo on
I
them.
want to hear from an A&M fan's perspective. Jimbo Fisher in his most recent press conference
Mhm.
said, "Quote: There's nothing wrong with what we're doing."
Okay.
With the first losing season in 14 years,
Yeah,
what do
honestly,
you
that's not
feel
a
about
great
that
quote.
statement?
That's not a good quote.
Look,
Like, if you were a recruit looking into this program and they don't want to do anything different than what they did this year, Jimbo's obviously not taking blame for this season.
No, yeah, no. At the end of his press conference, he always says, "We just didn't execute. Plays were there."
Yeah.
But I think it's going to come down to who they hire as their offensive coordinator. If it's just like a guy that people thinks kind of like just does whatever Jimbo wants,
Hmm.
it's not going to change anything. But if you say like a Garrett Riley, then that might excite recruits to still come to the school.
Y'all want him?
Oh yeah, I want anything that'll just do something different than we're doing now.
That's fair.
so
That's fair.
so you wanna hear my hot take, and I think I'm okay saying this, and I think I've come to like a nirvana moment with this, and I think this could be a hot take, but like in 5 months we could be like, wow, Zach was a fucking genius, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't know.
Said no one ever, but okay.
Yeah, or I could look stupid as hell. I think if we started Connor the entire year, I think we're 9-3. I really do.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, think about it this way, right? Think about it this way. We lost to App State because Haynes King couldn't fucking throw the
No,
football.
there's
We were at,
there's a lot more issues than just QB situation.
I
with this team.
agree, but we were at that game. Okay, that was a dog shit performance by Haynes King. Um, Bama, that was dog shit by Haynes King as well. I mean, granted, the play calling was okay. Look, point being, play calling wasn't good. I will give you that, right? Do I think Jimbo needs to let go of play calling? Yes. Do I think our defense needs to look in the mirror? Yes. Do I think our O line needs some fucking help the most? Yeah. The talent is there. There's no denying that we're a top 5 talent, like
They're number
wise,
4.
in the whole country. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think we're top 5 talent in the entire country. I do think it's tough when a lot of these guys are young. I think clearly we had some bad apples in the program, i.e. Denver Harris, who's on that list transferring. I mean, he was kind of the ringleader of a lot of issues of guys getting suspended. And I think when you get rid of those guys and you have the guys that really give a fuck and want to play, coupled with, like just the talent, like I think we're fine next year. I really do. Like they're a year older, I
Yeah,
mean,
go 8-4 again.
nah, dude, nah. I think it's quarterback play, man. When we had Kellen Mond leading, I just fucking spit on myself. When we had Kellen Mond fucking running the show, I mean, he went 11, what, 10-1 one year, 9 and
That was
3 the
9
other.
1 the COVID year.
Well, I think Connor Weigman's a lot more talented than. Maybe I'm just hyping up Connor Weigman. I don't know, but like when I see him on offense with like Donovan, Evan Stewart, Moose, it's like, dude, like there's a fuck ton of good
The
players on
main
that
issue with next year is going to be how they replace A-Chain. if he's actually leaving,
Yes.
which he probably
Well,
is. But
Did
Le'Veon's
he accept
really
anything
good,
to the
dude.
Senior Bowl?
is he a
I don't think he's a
senior?
senior. No,
Is he not a
he's a
senior?
junior.
Oh.
He's a junior. But dude, Le'Veon Moss is really good, Steve.
Yeah, but
Like,
he's never started yet, so you never know until they
sure,
actually do. But
sure,
he's
but
not a proven starter, I guess is the way to put
I
it.
don't know. My one insight to these guys when I was talking to some of the players, they told me like they said number 22 is really good, and I was like,
That
who's number
Le'Veon?
22? Yeah, because this was in the preseason when he was a true
No, he
freshman.
looked good when he played.
Yeah,
Just we don't know what he's gonna look at as a full blown starter.
I don't know. Maybe I'm bullish. I think A&M's a bullish stock. Invest low. Invest when they're low. They're
And it's just gonna
bullish.
depend with the offensive coordinator, like how they use the running backs, like whether they just use one running back or they use multiple.
Is our schedule out for next year?
Yeah, it's like out to 24, 25, I'm pretty sure.
Another
Just had
notable
changed my
mention
mind.
for the transfer portal. I think it came out today. Jacob Lacey from Notre Dame, 4-star defensive lineman, is coming to OU. I think
Yeah.
that'll be
Does that make you
interesting.
happy?
It does make me happy. Not as happy
Yeah.
as Peyton Bowen, but it makes me happy. That's a conversation for another time with the recruiting frenzy that's going on, and early National
Yeah.
Signing Day. That's December 21st, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be.
And that's when most will sign. So.
I think we get at least 75-85% of our 2023
Yeah, and
class in
quick
that.
note about the A&M schedule next year. The out of conference
That's
games are New
brutal.
Mexico, Miami, ULM, and then Abilene Christian. So if any
No,
one of
dude.
those is a loss, that's a problem, especially after having Miami this year.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm looking at our schedule too. Like, I might have to redact my statement about me being completely bullish on this team. We're playing at Tennessee. That's a fucking L. We're playing at Ole Miss. That's another fucking L. Bama's always a fucking L. That's 3. South Carolina's kind of spooky.
It wasn't last year.
What,
South
Bam?
Carolina, the spooky team.
Alabama.
A spooky team. Mississippi State's at home, I guess. I don't know, Steve.
Next year will be
84.
Rattlers last year, huh?
He's such a bum, but yeah.
I really honestly think we are going to go 8-4.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, it's improvement. Bowl eligible, baby.
Get back to what we used to be.
Yeah, and then
You
we
call
can-
that an improvement?
Yeah, I mean, God, dude.
In year what? Year 6 next year?
I didn't know we had Tennessee at. I didn't know we played at Tennessee next year. That's brutal. Ooh, buddy. Yeah. At Miami too. I could see us losing that game just
I don't
because
know,
why
Miami,
not?
they look like they have as many issues as we do.
Yeah, exactly. But it's at Miami, so
All
spooky.
right. Some closing remarks. Zach, I wanna talk about with the recruiting season. I know you're pretty heavily involved with some of the recruits that come into at least A&M, some other large Power 5 schools as well. Maybe just give a brief introduction to your company, what you do for those athletes, and potentially which ones we could get on the podcast to interview and talk about their time
Yeah.
as a recruit.
Yeah, no, 100%. Pretty simply, what we do is we partner with athletes to develop custom trading cards to basically allow them to sell it to their fans. So my logic was, hey, there's a disconnect between fans being able to support their athletes in an NIL capacity and kind of getting an exchange of goods, right? Like you want to support athletes and you want something cool in return, which is like signed memorabilia. And I think every college football fan would want something along those lines. And so my goal is to build that out and hopefully partner with colleges at large to kind of have it be more like easier facilitated, I guess is the word. You know, if you partner with a college, you can just flow in athletes, get the word out there, stuff like that. So it's really just a spreading of word game. But in terms of athletes that I think we could get to start, I think I told you guys before. I think Donovan Green at A&M seems like a really cool dude. I think I could pitch that to him. I think he'd probably be interested. And then I think A.T. Perry at Wake Forest. We worked with him for a good year, and he's projected to be top 3 round NFL draft pick this year. So I think it'd be kind of cool to just hear him out and stuff. And hopefully some other guys across college that I'll just have to think about.
Javante Barnes sounds like a perfect one.
You need to tell Javante to dude, he's bad about texting. I
Yeah,
will give these guys.
I don't have the end with Javante. You got it. So
I will say that these guys, I think during the season, a lot of them are bad at texting because it's weird. Dude, some of these A&M guys, I was texting them 4 weeks before the season, and it's just like instant responses. The minute the week one starts, like ghosted. And it's like,
Oh, I
all
bet
right, yeah.
they're
So
in
like
full.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. So I think I'll ask Javante. We'll see.
Yeah, just in the new year. I think
Yeah,
once all the bowl games are done, because
portal
he's
season.
gonna have a heavy presence in the bowl game. I don't know if Eric Gray's gonna be playing,
Hmm.
um, which is concerning.
Yeah, well,
Especially playing Florida State. It's a little
at least you're in a bowl, I guess, right? Mm.
that's true, but I think as an OU fan, I kind of just don't. I want the season to be over.
Yeah,
um, you know, but uh, all that being said, if you made it this far, thank you everybody for joining in on this discussion of college football. And here's to, I guess, the last 2 weeks of college football for this season, 2 to 3
yeah,
weeks. And whenever news pops up, keep an eye out for us. But in that, thank y'all.
absolutely. Yeah, dude, I say we